we can conclude actually. So what we have done at the beginning, first we have decided our area of interest. Then you have decided the objectives. Your objective may not be in such a way that you can work on, but you have general statement of your problems, and then go for the literature review. You have gone for the literature review, and you are searching the literature related to your objectives. And what is the reason to form the objective at this point? Because once you have formed the objectives, then you can list the keywords on that objective, because you have to search the literature. So like if you are working on the driverless cars, if you want to work on the driverless car, so driverless cars, this can become machine learning. Using the machine learning algorithm, you may want to work on the driverless car. So machine learning can become one keywords, and driverless car can becomes one keyword. And with the help of such keywords, if you search the information, then published material you may get. So once you get the material, you can study further, and you can refine your statement. So objective at the beginning can be in the general way, then you go for the literature, meet the expert, go for the group discussions, do the brainstorming, think, rethink, and after doing all such things, you have come to know the clear and unambiguous research objective. So once you have the clear and unambiguous research objectives, then you need to identify the operational terms, means you need to define the terms you have used in your objective statement, so that everybody knows clearly that what you mean by that particular term. So you have to decide the terms. Actually, these operational definitions are the variables actually. So you have the notion of the variables, and you come to know that which are the dependent variable or which are the independent variables, because or what are the confounders also. So you need to know that beside these variables there are some other factors, those can also affect your results. So you have to take care of all such confounders. So at this stage, up to here, you have the clear cut objectives, and you have the deterministic statement to proceed for the research. And according to the deterministic statement, means according to the deterministic objective, you need to next think that okay, what should be the research design of this kind of objective. So according to the research objective, you can go for the research design. So you have to select the research design, appropriate research design. And because people will ask that why you are going for this kind of research design, so you have to give the justification that okay, I'm going in this kind of research designs because of this reason, my objective is like this. So you have to explain that. So once you have the particular research design, you come to know that okay, I will go for experiment, or I will go for the descriptive analysis, or I will go for the some say observational study, or I can go for some, say for example, some other experimentation or other thing. So accordingly, actually, you need the data. So once you are able to identify the population, then since you are not able to work in the big data size, then you have to take the part of that data, but that data should be the representative of the whole groups. And that you need to, in this way, you are going to decide the sample size. This is the notion of the sample size. And once you have the sample size, once you have decided that I will select this part of data, then from here you can keep the data. Okay, so you have the volume of data, and now it is the, you need to think that okay, how you can access the data, which part of data you need to take. So what should be the sampling procedure you need, whether you are considering every possible, every candidate of the population as the possible candidate, potential candidate for the participation or not, or you are giving some chance to only the particular groups, and you are not considering the other part of the population. So whether you are going for the probabilistic one, or whether you are going for the non-probabilistic one, generally the research is strong once you go for the once you go for the probabilistic sampling design. So people say that okay, probabilistic sampling design is sound as compared with the non-probabilistic design, but non-probabilistic design is also the scientific method people are going to accept. Okay, so wherever you think that okay, non-probabilistic will work, then you can go for the non-probabilistic. Whenever you think that okay, non-probabilistic sampling is not going to work, then you have to go for the probabilistic sampling. And out of the probabilistic sampling, you have to decide that which particular sampling you need to use. you have the number of probabilistic sampling, and you have to give the justification that people you can explain that, okay, because of this I am going to use the, since I want to cover the whole population and because it is needed for this kind of objectives, and I am going to go for the probabilistic sampling. So here you have the, you have come to know, you have decided the published sample selection procedure. Then after you have decided then selection procedure, then you have to collect the data. And for collecting the data you can use the electronic method, means you can make the survey also, you can make the interview, you can conduct the interview, you can design the questionnaires, okay, or you can take some machine to get the data, or you can take some repository from for the data source. So you have to identify the data according to your research, and once you have the data you are going to prepare for the analysis, you are going to prepare for the experiment. So you have to conduct the experiment. So you may use some techniques like visualization techniques you may use, so that it is better to visualize the data, whatever data you have collected. It is in some, it may be in the some different form. So you need to think that, okay, what kind of experiment I need on this kind of data. So you can visualize the data, which particular method you want to use for the experiment, and for the purpose you can prepare the data for the experiment. You may clean the data, some extra things may be there, and you may don't want such information, you may clean some repeated repetitions, you can remove like the things. So once you have collected the data and it is data is ready for the research work, taking, if you are ready for the conduction of research, means your data is ready on which you can perform the research work, or on which you can perform the experiment, then you can do the experiment. So now for the experiment also you have to see that which particular tools you are going for the experiment, whether you go for the laboratory process, whether you go for the, some you are using some particular tool already developed by the research communities. So you, or you can, you are using the simulation for that, so you are going to use the simulation tool. Whatever you are going to use for that experiment you have to select at this time. And once you have the result of the experiment, so you have the experimental result, it may be in the form of the table, or it may be in the form of the graphs, or it may be in some other forms. So whenever you have the results of the experiment, then you have to go for the analysis. And during the analysis actually you will come to know that what is the impact of your research work. You have selected the particular area and you have done all such activities scientifically, these are the, this is the scientifically you are going to do, and formally you are going to proceed the research. So on going to the formal method procedures for conducting the research, now you have the result, you have to go for the analysis, and you can make the conclusion. So for the conclusion actually you can go for the statistical analysis, and for getting the strong confidence on the conclusion you have to use the prescribed method for the uh, like the statistical method. You have to, you might have uh, computed the variance or standard deviations, and then you can might have computed the p-value. Then you may come to know that the particular statement can be accepted or rejected. So you have to use the scientific method for the analysis. You have to go for that. Or if you are having the some other kind of a qualitative kind of research, so even if you can determine the, see nowadays every problem in the computer science is solvable. The what is the actually, what is the challenges there? Challenges is the time and memory. So every actually there is no, whatever problems you face in the computer science, you will find that these are the problems which are challenging. These are challenging for the large input size. Okay, because for the large input size, your computer time is busy for the computation and it is not going to produce the result. And you may take the possibly infinite amount of the memory. And such problems which cannot be traced in the reasonable amount of time in computer science are known as the NP-hard or NP-complete problems. You know that. So here the time is also very very important. If you are solving some problem and if your algorithm takes less time as compared with the earlier ones, or if your algorithm takes less storage requirement as compared with the earlier procedure, then it will be accepted. So there must be the benefit. If this is the way you are going to go for the, you can say that okay, this is the efficient way of doing this kind of information. If you are able to minimize the resources needed by the procedure, needed by the algorithm, if you are going for the optimization, solving the problem is not only the task. You have to solve the problem, but at the same time you have to go for the optimization. So once you go ask for the optimization, then the problem actually becomes the difficult. So the problems, whatever problems you are going to solve in the machine learning problem or whatever, you can go. The people are worried about the time. You know that once you go for the classification or okay, then or high dimensional searching, then you are most of the time you are going to say that feature selection. What are the features you need? If you go for the classification, then you need that how many features you want to include so that you can classify. And if the features maybe the many number of features may be more, so that you have to go for the selection of the particular features, so that on behalf of that features you can correctly predict the answer. So feature selection, here you are going to use the feature selection method. And if you have designed some new feature selection method, then you have to analyze that, okay, this feature selection method takes this less amount of time as compared with the earlier one, and I am getting the accuracy either same or more. So your accuracy may be same, but if your procedure is getting your feature selection method is taking less time, then you can say that yes, it is acceptable. So this kind of analysis is always applicable to everywhere. If you are going for the experimentation, then you experimental industry, you can say that okay, this group behaves like this and this group behaves like this, and we have given the treatment of this group like this and this, and this will be the conclusion that okay, if you give the treatment like this will be better or not. This is your conclusions. So whatever research design you can prefer, in every kind of research designs, ultimately you have to reach, you will reach at the conclusion. And your conclusion, you have reached the conclusion, and your conclusion must be scientifically verified. It should be correct, and it should have some benefit over the existing uh, algorithms or existing procedures or existing methodologies. So at that time, you feel that okay, yes, your answer is useful, and then if you think that okay, your answer is useful, and this is the better way of solving the problems, or you have come to know some new information that okay, these are that may affect the other findings, or other people's may should know this finding, then what you need to do, you have to publish the paper. If you don't publish the paper, then nobody will know your research. This is one thing. And if nobody is knowing your research, then you will die with this research, and nobody is getting your this research. And in the future, the theory may not be further developed. So that's why it is your moral duty, whenever you have the research conclusions and you think that if this is the conclusion is for the public interest, you must publish this thing to the good research journals or good conferences, IEEE conferences or ACM conferences, any conferences in your area you can publish, or in journals you can publish, so that people can easily get from that source of knowledge. And it means here you are going to increase the body of knowledge. So here you have earlier the body of knowledge like this was the body of knowledge, and you have little bit added into the body of knowledge, and this is your contribution. So now once you have added this thing into the body of knowledge and your paper is published, means it is added into the body of knowledge, and this is your task is done. Now you can say that yes, this the task is done, and you have done the minimum requirement, then you will also get the formal degree, PhD degree. And this is the thing. Now you think that now you may, up to this discussion, you may come to know the hardness of this research work, and you may come to know that how easy is to conduct the research, and also at the same time you come to know that this research work, if you want to do this kind of formal study, then actually you need time. The only thing is that you need time, otherwise everything you know clearly. So at this stage, You are aware of everything. You know that how to find out the area of interest. You know that how to do the literature search, from where you can get the literature search, and what are the methodology for conducting the research, and what are the ethics for the publication. You also know the ethics, publication ethics. You also know that you should not go for the falsification, means you should not simply say, without performing the experiment, you just not publish the by saying that okay, yes, this is the answer, or just repeat, doing only one times experiment. You just not conclude that okay, this happens. You have to repeat the experiment number of times. So all such things you have to do, because you want to do the original contributions. Now see that this is generally you can follow this kind of things from, you can proceed from bottom to top. So generally this is not the in the research in the research work. This formal studies not have the particular sequence of working. So you cannot say that okay, I will start from the area of interest. Somebody may start from anywhere, but actually, or somebody say that okay, I will not do the I will not do the literature search first. I will go for the literature survey at the last. This happens that somebody, before selecting the area of interest, they are going for the literature study, so that they can find the interesting problem, and they may come to know that okay, this can become my area of interest. Somebody might have the objectives. So you have come up to this stage for the objectives. So somebody may have the objectives. Okay. So if you go to some professor, and professor is going to do professors are working on some research problems, and professor has the research objectives, and you say that okay, sir, I want to proceed for the research, I'm interested for the research work, and I want to continue with you. If you say like this, then your supervisor may say that okay, yes, you can work. I'm working in this problem, and this is the objective. Can you work in this objective? You can say yes, I will work in this objective. So what you mean by this? You have not done literature search. You have not identified the variables, or or the dependent variables, independent variables, or you have not identified the operational terms. Everything you are getting the ready-made objective. So professor says that okay, this is the research objective, and in the research objective, these terms have meaning this, and these are the variables, and these are the confounders that can affect the result, and we need to find this kind of answer. We are interested to find the answer of this objective. You have the objective now, without doing any work. You have the objective now. Do you think that can you proceed without searching the literature? Even you have the objectives, you need to go for the literature search, because professor has gives you the objectives. What you need, you have to search the available literature based on your research objectives, and you can list some keywords of that objectives, and using the keywords you can better search the database, and you can find the research articles. You can study the materials, that what are the methods available for this kind of objectives, and then you will see that okay, these methods are available, and this is the answer. So can I use some different method? So ultimately, whether you can start from the objective, then also you have to go for the literature search. So you cannot get rid from the literature search. So this is research. You can start from any point. The question is that if you have the expert and say that okay, this is the problem you have to work, this is the objective you have to work, means you are going to start the research work, and for solving the problems you have to go back to the literature search. You have to find out the methods available. Professor said, oh, this is the objective, and you can do the research. So you need to know that okay, what are the available methods first. So for the available methods, you have to go for the literature search. So this is important, and this task is more difficult actually. What I have observed, that if at the beginning student says that yes, I am ready to work on this area. Say if somebody comes to me and I say that okay, can you work on the formal language learning? Student says yes, I can work on the formal language learning. I will say that okay, this is the research problem. We need to learn the context sensitive grammars. I have learned already context free grammars. Now I want to know what are the mechanisms available for learning the context sensitive grammar. This is the objective, and from this kind positive examples you have to learn. Now you have the objective. At that time you can say that yes, I can work, sir, and you will be very happy that I have, without searching the literature, I have the objective, and you say that okay, yes, sir, I can work on this. But once you have started and you have submitted the synopsis, you have the RDC, and RDC people are in the research degree committee. They ask that okay, these are the objective. You can say that yes, I am interested and I can work on these objective. But once you start the research, then once you go for the literature study, you have to do the literature, you have to see the methods available for that, so that you can use the methods, appropriate method. So once you go for the literature search, then you come to know that okay, how difficult this field is. And since at that time, with the intuition to get admission into the PhD, at that time you said that okay, I'm able to do the research work in this area. I will take your objectives and I will solve your problem and I will work with you, sir. But actually, once you involve in the research and go for the literature search, then you will come to know the hardness of this area, and this may not be your area of interest. This area of interest, formal language learning, is the area of interest to me only. It may not be the area of interest to you, because you don't know the hardness of this kind of problems. And for working on such area, you have to do the rigorous studies, and you have to know the each and every methods in this area. And you need to know the pioneer persons, those who are the leader in this field. And this kind of study you need, and this kind of, since this is the theoretical computer science work, and you have to go for the writing the theorems, proving the theorems, and doing most of the time you have to do with the mathematics. You should be good at mathematics also. uh, so this kind of situation should come once you find the ready-made objectives, because this area requires rigorous studies. And at the time of research, they come to know that okay, I cannot make this area of interest because I'm not habitual of the rigorous study. I want to work on the numerics only. So this is the qualitative research. I need to write the theorems, I need to write the algorithms, I need to find out the quantitative judgment of the algorithms I'm going to produce. And I'm not good at the producing the quantitative judgment. I'm not good at the analysis of the algorithm. So how I can proceed it? And at that time you can come to know that okay, this is not my area of research, and you can leave you are forced to leave the PhD at that time. So this kind of situation happens once you are getting the ready-made objectives. But once you start yourself, once you find the once yourself you find the area of interest. My area of interest is this, and you search the literature, and once you have come up with that objective, then there is a 99% chance that you will succeed in your PhD. So that's why I suggest that everybody, that you do yourself searching the problems. Don't go to the guide and ask that okay, I can work on your objective. You can work on objective if you have the dedication. Whether you have the dedication of, if you have the dedication and kind of kind of hard work you require in that field, if you are ready to this kind of hard work, then only you can accept that objective. Otherwise you should yourself search the objectives, and you can tell that okay, I have made this kind of literature search, I have made this kind of group discussion, meeting the expert, I have presented some research work at the conferences, and I meet the expert related groups, and I come to know that okay, this can become my objective, and this is the objective, and I can proceed the work. Then I'm sure that 99% chance that you will complete the PhD. So see that in doing the PhD, you have to involve yourself, because this is your research. Even you are getting the ready-made objectives, you cannot proceed, you cannot give any insights in the research. So if you want to really give the contribution, you have to make your efforts yourself. Now at this stage, you know each and everything. Okay, so how to search the literature, each and everything, sample design, sample analysis, statistical methods, everything you know, and you have to find out the research objectives, and you have to proceed the research.